Hello everybody, my name is Kip Crete, and today we are going to be taking a look at all my loadouts. Just something simple to put out there for you guys to see what it is I do as far as my loadouts and my ideas behind them and everything, and just kind of a good look as to how I play. And just something to put out there. I know it's not anything too fancy, but it's still content being put out there and just something I hope you guys will enjoy. So I'm going to be doing this in order of the classes which I play most down to the least. So obviously we're going to be starting off with Heavy. Now, I organize my loadouts in a particular way, my A slot being my general use slot, the one I will use most of the time, B slot being saved for more mobility-focused items, C generally being focused on power or utility type stuff, and D simply being used for either just kind of just messing around or some sort of sentimental loadout that maybe not be particularly effective or something, but something I just really enjoy. The first one here is the one you most of you recognize. It's the Alexander loadouts with my full chromatic corruption set with the Orbiting Planets Killer exclusive, the Strange Allfather, and Dead of Night, with my cool Star-Crossed minigun, my Strange the Locust Bar, and the Collector's Fists of Steel, which were actually given to me fairly recently by a good friend of mine, Demons and Angels, which I named after him appropriately, Alucard and Gabriel, mentioning two of some of the most well-known of angels and demons, just kind of representing them. I generally kind of give the names of my more special items as kind of something a bit philosophical or whatever. I don't know if it makes me edgy or something, but it's just something I like to do, such as the Killer's exclusive, I named The Worlds We Make for Ourselves, giving it the description, we shape the worlds our mind sees, make yours a good one. It really kind of approached me that way because one thing you guys may not know about me, but I really do love writing and I love to write, and I've always kind of seen from a writer's perspective that we kind of make our own world. We are the ones that by our own choice formulate the worlds around us, and so it's just kind of fitting to have this press hat, this writer's hat, with all these worlds that we make for ourselves, just kind of going around it. Cold skies and warm lights was kind of referring, to try to be a little bit clever with the unusual effect as well as the paint. It was something I really enjoyed, and the description of that is Hope Shines in Your Darkest Nights. And I also got this signed by Teal Opal. I recently applied a Festivizer to it. I'm not sure if I should keep it. It makes it look a little messy, but I think I'll just have fun with it for now. Bittersweet Memories, which used to be named Delicious Diabetes, but I decided to change it after I came on some hard times. So I called it Bittersweet Memories, with a description of take time to reflect on your past, the good and the bad that make you stronger. Kind of referring to how, I particularly love dark chocolate and everything, and a lot of people really enjoy that idea of bittersweetness, where, even in good, there's sometimes, something sad or whatever, to reflect back on that led to where you are, and it's always good to remember that. And then, of course, my Fists of Steel, which, again, I have named as an homage to the friend that gave them to me. Second up is my B set, which is my mobility loadout for my heavy, which contains the same items from my original cosmetic set, but all painted Australian gold, to match the banana idea, with my leopard printed isotope Tomislav, which was something I unboxed. I'm really proud of this. I really like it, even though some people say it looks like rotten cheese, which I strongly disagree with. The melee on it is my strange specialized kill streak bread bite, which I called the Savory Savior final form. To understand that joke, actually ran the bread bite originally with the sandwich, which I call the Savory Savior base form, and it was kind of referring to that old meme, it protect but it also attack. Then there's my C loadout, which I use as kind of my alias loadout cosmetically, using the Center Shade, the Wild West Whiskers, and the Hunter Heavy, all painted purple except for the whiskers. using a star-crossed brass beast and star-crossed family business for a bit of a fat scouty kind of gameplay, which isn't optimal, but it is incredibly fun to do. And then the strange warrior spirit, which I believe is very undervalued as a melee, but at the same time I can understand why people wouldn't use it when far better options such as the Fists of Steel, or even in some cases the Gru, exist. It's a decent weapon, but really doesn't get the chance to shine that it should. Overall, this is a fun loadout I like to use, and if you see this particular cosmetic loadout, it might be me, but don't call that out because I'm generally not wanting to be. Then there is my old Mikhail loadout, which only the people who've known me the longest will recognize. This is my oldest loadout. It is one that I used to run my channel on, but I then switched over to my Alexander loadout. This was back whenever I had just this loadout, which I thought was really cool, but at the same time it also ended up attracting some symbology that I did not want associated with my channel. Particularly a lot of people, since it is Wolfenstein inspired, a lot of people would apply it to Nazi imagery, and I did not appreciate that at all. In addition, this loadout doesn't contain any particularly special or identifying items, and so it was very easy to impersonate. And even whenever I only had about 160 subscribers, I was seeing some people impersonating me and using that to scam people. And so that's part of the reason why I decided to go out and finally get unusual and get something special. That way I was a little bit more distinct and harder to impersonate, which is another reason why I switched over to my Alexander loadout. This is still a loadout, though, that is very special to me, very dear to my heart. It's what I originally became a heavy main on. And if you see me going to this one, I'm probably either trying to kind of alias but not alias, or I'm just really try-harding, because this is the loadout I used back whenever I was first becoming a heavy main, back whenever I was first really trying to improve as a player. And it's kind of my try-harding loadout, but it's also a really nostalgic loadout, and I really enjoy it. Don't get to use it as much as I want to sometimes, but it's still keep it around because it's something that means a lot to me and reminds me a lot of the good old days. Then my next played class is DEMOMAN, mostly because, okay, my D loadout here, I guess I kept that up. So you see how much I do that. First thing I love to do with DEMOMAN is, of course, DEMOPAN, which I do with a mostly reminiscent of the older style of DEMOPAN, with the sticky jumper and booties, just flying around with the DEMOPAN. I got the bounty hat. I don't have the danger ask or anything, so I run with the six-pack abs and the genuine tomb readers. It's just something that kind of creates a unique spin on that loadout, but it is pretty fun. I just absolutely love playing DEMOPAN. It's absolutely stupid, but it is incredibly fun. Then there's my stock loadout here, which has the Bushido and the Shin Shredders to kind of create like a bit of an armored look, and then the War Eagle, and then a fully macaw masked set with the Scotsman Skull Cutter. It's pretty consistent, has a good bit of power, but ultimately it's shiny, and that's what I like. It just looks pretty. Then there's my B loadout, which is probably my most favorite of the DEMOMAN loadouts that I have. It's a hybrid knight with the loose cannon, the tide turner, and the Clydomore. It's an incredibly mobile loadout that gives you a lot of really nice movement tricks, and it's just really fun to mess around with. Then there is the this one right here, which is another really mobile loadout with the leopard printed iron bomber, the sticky jumper, and the hazard warning Scotsman skull cutter. Which I have to say, melee weapons are probably one of the few things that the hazard warning skin actually looks good on, because it creates an actual like metallic looking kind of blade, and it just, oof. But everything else, it just generally doesn't look very good. But yeah, there's my DEMOMAN loadouts. Next one is not surprisingly, after spending a whole week playing him, Sniper. Sniper, with my loadouts, I generally will use my Allfather because it kind of an identifying thing, but still looks really good on Sniper. And then I like to combine Misks on Sniper because they have a tendency to look really good, particularly the snow sleeves and the down under duster, which makes it look like some sort of fur-lined trench coat, and I just really love the effect that that gives. If you're starting to see a theme here with skins, I really love Star-Crossed, so anyone wanting to donate, Star-Crossed skins, would love that because, whoo, man, I love Starcrossed. Just purple space, yes, beautiful. Cosmic Calamity too, but Starcrossed, yes. Uh, so this one's an all-stock loadout here with the Starcrossed sniper rifle and SMG with the Necro Smasher. Pretty consistent, but my personal favorite is the C loadout here with the Opera Hand, the Cozy Camper, and the Tribalman Shiv. This one isn't particularly fancy, the only thing being strange on it being the Tribalman Shiv, but it's really consistent, really works out well, and just really handles well for my particular kind of sniper. Then, if you're wanting to get a bit more close up, I have Madoka, my specialized kill streak bow, which I more or less just spam out and hope to God I hit anything. Surprisingly, the Luxman does not give me much luck. The my strange Jarate and Troubleman Shiv. I really like the Troubleman Shiv on Sniper. I know the other things are a bit more consistent as far as pure damage, but half the time when someone gets close to me, I'm gonna die anyway, and so it's better to just give something to track them off. So that's what I go with. And then the Jarate's there as a good support option and helps you out in close range. And then finally, only my oldest viewers will really recognize this one with the Australian gangster mask, the spooky sleeves, and the airborne attire. This is from one of my really old videos back whenever I had a series called Late Night with Bots, in which I would just go around and mess around with some really stupid strategies, just playing with bots and seeing what I could get away with. This one was just kind of taking a bunch of bad weapons, putting them together, and having the idea where it would kind of be this constant damage boosting thing with the carbine and the Jarate effect from the Sydney Sleeper. It's a really fun loadout. I don't use it very much anymore, but it's still something that was incredibly fun for me to do, and I love to mess around with it from time to time. Next off is the Engineer, which I absolutely love as a class, but also is just kind of tedious to play sometimes. Here is my stock loadouts with the vintage Texas 10-gallon painted orange, the dogfighter, and the fabulous support spurs. It makes a really nice kind of cowboy, but not too like rustic look. With the leopard printed shotgun and pistol, bowstring, and a dress to kill strange wrench. Overall, it's a stock loadout, fairly consistent, but it's pretty fun. Next one is my personal favorite loadout here with the Frontier Justice, the Gunslinger, and the Strange Shot to Hell pistol. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Drop a mini sentry, go shoot people, wait for it to drop, get crits, rinse and repeat. It's fun, it's stupid, but it can be really helpful if you know how to handle it, and it's pretty terrifying. Here is another one with my Starcross shotgun, my Cobweb pistol, and then recently I got a Alien Tex strange skin, which I put on a Jag and appropriately named it Alienware with the description, I believe, percussive readjustment is the best troubleshooter for any malfunctioning tech. This one right here is, if I'm playing a more defensive engineer, this is probably what I'll do more so than even stock, because the Jag is just so good at rollouts and everything. You can really work it out really well. But if you're really looking out to see me screwing around as NG, my D loadout is the number one with the Thompson, which is kind of bad, but at the same time it's just so fun to just spam it out and just pew pew pew. The short circuit, which is actually one of my favorite weapons in the game. It's also kind of bad, but if you know how to use it, it can be absolutely terrifying, where you can just delete people's projectiles, follow cloaked spies, and just absolutely fuck people up. Just run around, hold left click, let it home in on them, and that's all you gotta do. And the Eureka effect, the overall theme here is just really like high tech stuff, but overall it's kind of a bad loadout, but it's really fun to just screw around on. Next up, I got Soldier, which surprised I play as much as I do, but lately I've been having a lot of fun just kind of rocket jumping around, as shown by my general use loadout with the Starcrossed rocket launcher, of course, the gunboats, and the market gardener. I'm no good at market gardening, but I still go for it every once in a while. And every once in a while, I'll land a hit some, but most of the time I'm just going to be bombing and probably going off a few cliffs. My B loadout here is a bit more mobility based, allows me to get around a little bit more with the Liberty Launcher and the Conjurer, and the Whip. This one is more or less just me jumping around, bombing into shit, and maybe trying to help my team with the Whip every once in a while. C loadout is the one I'm going to be doing if I'm playing more serious Soldier with the Black Box, the Battalion's backup, and the Whip still, because I like supporting the team. Usually I don't like the black box, especially when combined with the Conjurer, but I feel like if you're going with something like the Battalion's backup, and focusing on more or less support stuff and being a little bit more grounded, it's generally fairly decent, combos fairly well, and isn't terribly annoying when paired with that sort of stuff. And then my absolute favorite thing to do as soldier is a ham soldier with the Conjurer, the rocket jumper, and my genuine ham shank, where I just go around jumping around and beating the absolute shit out of people with a ham. It's so fun, it's so stupid, and it's just one of the greatest things. I mean, sure, I could market garden, but I can't do that. So I'm just gonna beat you in the face with a ham because fuck it. Then there's Scout, which surprisingly isn't my least played class despite how absolutely garbage I am. Here's my D loadout here, which has the anodized Aloha soda popper, Mad Milk, and the FAP Scout, which was given to me by a fan. I run all my Scout loadouts. I run the Strange Caribou Companion, given to me also by Demons and Angels, a Strange Macho Man, and my Dead of Night. It's just a silly little loadout, but is also kind of fun. So it's just I don't play Scout all that much, but when I do, it's more or less just for the memes. If I'm generally playing Scout, I'm probably just going to try to melee you to death or just see how quickly I can miss every single shot. There's my A loadout, which surprisingly doesn't have Starcross, and that's because the Corsair Scattergun is my favorite scattergun in the game, and the Shot to Hell pistol, which I have is Strange, and I really like that one, so go with it. And the Necro Smasher, which if you're not going pan and you're just kind of looking for a melee to just mess around with but still be fairly effective, I really like the Necro Smasher. Sure, it's a stock, but it's fun. My B loadout, which is a bit more focused on mobility, using the Babyface's Blaster, the Strange Winger, and the Atomizer. Now, I know some people think it's strange to kind of pair jumping weapons with a weapon that slows you down whenever you jump. The thing is I really like the Babyface's Blaster, not because it speeds you up, but because it actually slows you down. For most cases, Scout's actually a little too fast for my handling, and so being able to kind of have that slowdown to keep you on track is actually pretty helpful, and then the extra mobility from the jumps is really nice. And whenever you really start to handle them together and work how to synchronize both speed up and the jumping, it's actually a really nice little tool. It really helps you out. Then there's my only loadout that is fully Strange on Scout, which is the Backscatter, the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol, and the Fan of War. This is all just about just kind of going into stupid situations with stupid weapons, somehow managing to do it and get the hell out. It's fun, but not terribly effective. But whenever I'm playing Scout, I'm not exactly trying to be effective anyway. Next one, I got Medic, which surprisingly has fallen into a lot of disuse despite the fact that this used to be my main and still has a surprising amount of really good stuff on it. So here, cosmetics, of course, I still have the Killer exclusive, the Allfather, and the Dead of Night. One thing I'm particularly proud of with that loadout is the fact that it's so versatile and multi-class, so I can just kind of slap this on anything and still kind of have my trademark with it. This one I have a full anodized Aloha set on all my weapons with, of course, the meta going here with a Crusader's crossbow and Uber saw, and my medigun comes with the isotope unusual effect, which looks really nice, and a Festivizer just to kind of make it look prettier. Here's my B set, which is a bit more focused on mobility. It uses the Overdose, the Quick Fix, and the Amputator, which is kill covered. The Overdose makes a really, really nice weapon if you're really kind of using it to get in and out of situations, and the Quick Fix is more or less whenever you can't rely on your team quite as much to use the stock. So it's overall a pretty helpful set, and I really like the Amputator because the extra regen can be really helpful, and a lot of people really undervalue the taunt heal that it provides to the team. If you can really find just a nice crevice to stuff yourself in and just kind of find somewhere where a bunch of your team are gathered, it can really shine and really help your team out. So I really enjoy running that. Then there's my C loadout, which is basically the same thing as my A loadout except with the Crits Krieg. And then my D loadout, which is back whenever I was a medic main. This is what I ran. kind of you can see a bit of Array 7 inspiration here, but it's got the genuine combat medics crusher cap, a strange Fopper's physician, and surgical survivalist, both of which have been pushed to legendary. There's my real MVP of the team, Mass Mitter Medigun. My of course my edgy joke back whenever I started playing TF2, the final solution, because I don't know. Oh, I don't know. And then the Bloot Slaughter, which is my Australian specialized kill streak Blutsauger. This was back whenever I was kind of focusing on more of a combat medic, which I distinguished from a battle medic because what I did was a little bit different than like true battle medicing. I would essentially like pocket someone, kind of stick around the team, and then if someone came nearby, I would have the Blutsauger ready to be able to defend myself, but all in all, I switched over then to kind of leave the Blutsauger behind to go with the crossbow because the burst healing, the burst damage, and overall, all in all, that's pretty nice. So, sticking with this now. Next one is Spy, which I am absolutely terrible at. Got for my loadouts the Killer exclusive and the Dead of Night again because purple and looks good. And then my Jaunty Voyager, which I got from donating to Tip of the Hats. Hopefully I can end up being a part of that sometime and maybe help bring some attention and help bring in some donations. Until then, I'll just be a proud donator, and I'll be part of that as long as I can. This is my stock loadout here with the Damascus Mahogany Revolver and Knife. I really like the Damascus Mahogany skins. I really think they're a bit undervalued, but they're generally pretty good on almost anything you put them on, and it's just a really nice but simple skin. Got the Quackenbert Inviswatch and the AppSap because I absolutely love the Portal series. It's incredibly fun and stupid, and it's just whoo. Portal is fun, and having Pocket Wheatley is amazing. My B loadout, which is a mobility loadout that I use like almost never, with the L'Étranger, the Spycicle, and the Dead Ringer, allowing me to get around through a lot of stupid situations and a lot of heavy fire, and the Red Tape Recorder because I don't know, it just went with that. Then there's my power loadout, which is really, really terrifying if you know how to use it. Unfortunately, I do not know how to play Spy, and so it never comes into play. But I got my Cloak and Dagger, the Killstreak Conniver's Kunai, and Specialized Killstreak Diamondback. It's a really powerful loadout if you can rack up the stabs, but doesn't really work out all that well. And then D, you're going to call me a bit of a weeaboo for this, but this one is based entirely off of Alucard from Hellsing. So it's the loadout is the Hat to Kill for, the Showstopper, and the Tomb Raiders, all meant to kind of simulate how he looked in the anime. The Dead Ringer is to kind of be like his whole, he can't die. He just uses up another life and makes you think you're dead for a second. Kunai, of course, he's a vampire, and then the Diamondback is probably the closest thing to the Jackal, unless you use the Ambassador, but that's just kind of useless now, and I can't aim, so crit body shots, yeah. Also with the Red Tape Recorder, because bitch, I eat people. And finally, my least played class, despite someone saying I should be a Pyro main, there's Pyro. I generally don't like playing Pyro very much because I feel a lot of stuff Pyro has is just bullshit, broken, and overpowered, and I just really don't like playing it anymore. It's probably something I'm going to have to make a video on sometime, but there's only two real loadouts that I actually use for Pyro. The first one being stock here with my Coffin Nail, Flamethrower, and Shotgun, a skin I really like, and then the Homewrecker, which is pretty comparable to stock, just a little bit less damage and the ability to knock sappers. It's overall a really useful weapon, and there's no reason a Pyro shouldn't run it. There's the Dead of Night and the Killer exclusive, of course, with the Phobos filter, which is a really versatile mask and really works well into a lot of loadouts, so I really like it. Then there's my only other loadout, which I use a bit more often. This is my Banana Pyro, which has the same thing except Australian Gold, and then the Banana Peel Detonator and Power Jack. And then the Flamethrower, I'll switch between this and my Banana Peeled Degreaser. Overall depends on whether or not I feel I need more overall damage, or whether or not I need the ability to switch quickly. Overall, this is a really highly mobile loadout. If I'm playing Pyro, I'm probably using this because I really like the mobility that this one gives you, and it's not. It doesn't use a lot of the same kind of bullshit that a lot of other Pyro stuff. It's not crit reliant, it's mobility reliant, which is something I'm actually okay with. And, well, that about sums it up. There's all my loadouts, and hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked what you saw. Maybe it'll influence your style of loadouts, and who knows. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next video, so